Recycling made easy. What you need to know about single-stream recycling. Plus, there's another item that you can't put in your trash any longer.
This cardboard ban is part of a larger effort with City of Iowa City to continue to reduce waste.
And get to know Goosetown.
It's a friendly place.
Learn about the history of this thriving neighborhood. Finally, are you locking your bike correctly? We walk you through the steps to keeping your ride safe. And it all starts right now on this edition of Iowa City in Focus. There are some major changes coming to your waste and recycling services. During this show, we're going to tell you about a new effort to keep cardboard out of the landfill, as well as a change to the way the city bills for yard waste. But first, we're going to start with a shift in our recycling program that should make it easier for everyone to participate. No more sorting. Iowa City is officially switching to single-stream recycling in December. Just toss it in and bring it to the curb.
The only change that's really taking place is that you no longer have to sort your recyclables. So the materials will stay the same. We are still not accepting glass and no plastic bags.
That means your paper, plastic, cardboard, metals, it can all be thrown into a bin without worry. The hope is that by making recycling easier, more people will get involved.
Communities that have switched over have seen increased rates of participation. So it's a program that is much easier to participate in than the current sorting system that we have.
In order to make the switch, the city purchased a fleet of new recycling trucks to improve the process of curbside pickup.
These new trucks will make it so we no longer have to do the sorting at the truck, so the sorting of the paper and the cardboard, the metal, the plastic, etc. Instead, it can all go in the truck together.
This new process saves time at each stop, which in turn saves fuel. The new trucks can also compress the mixed materials, allowing more recyclables to be collected with each load. From there, the materials are taken to Republic Services in Cedar Rapids. Truckloads of recycled materials are dropped off at the sorting facility, where a mixture of machinery and human power do the sorting for you. There, materials are loaded onto a conveyor belt. Employees first pick out any plastic bags, glass, or other items that don't belong. This is a process they repeat at each cycle of separation.
What they're doing here, it's more of a quality control center. They're picking off any plastics, anything that's not a newspaper or office paper or a plastic comes off this line.
But it's different types of technology that actually separate the cardboard, paper, plastics, and other products into individual groups.
In this screen, it's separating all the fiber from all the plastics. The fiber rides up, all the plastic falls through, and then moves on to another screen.
Another process is an optical sensor that recognizes and sorts certain materials such as plastics. It then uses air jets to blast the materials into a separate tubing system. So a load of mixed materials runs through this series of sorting machines to separate them into individual categories. Before the product is finalized, it goes through one final inspection.
To do quality checks, it falls into a bunker here, and it's staged in that bunker to be baled up to be shipped out to our mills.
Patrick says around 80% of their municipal customers use single-stream recycling.
It's just more efficient for all the parties, from your homeowner all the way up to the recycling facility.
Two common questions the city receives is why we don't accept glass or plastic bags through our curbside program. Republic Services does not accept plastic bags because of the problems they can cause to equipment.
They'll wrap around over our equipment, they'll wrap around our bearings, which can cause these bearings to catch fire.
They also don't accept glass because it breaks easily, which can contaminate other materials and pose a hazard to workers. Both plastic bags and glass can be dropped off at any of the city's 4 recycling drop-off sites in town. Switching to single-stream recycling is a major step for the city. We hope by making the process more simple, the number of full blue bins being set out by the curb each week will grow. There are certain recyclable products that for one reason or another still end up being thrown in the trash. In order to keep those materials from making their way to the landfill, the city has placed bans on certain items such as yard waste and tires. Beginning in 2018, there's a new item being added to that list.
The waste reduction is one of our big goals at the Iowa City landfill to really reduce the amount of materials going into the landfill and especially usable materials such as cardboard.
Corrugated cardboard, the kind with the wavy center, is a common product used in moving and storage boxes. It's an easy thing to recycle, but the Iowa City Landfill and Recycling Center learned just how much gets thrown out while participating in a waste characterization study.
According to our most recent 2017 waste characterization study, about 3% of what's going in the Iowa City landfill is cardboard, and this equates to over 4,000 tons of material.
In order to curb the amount being thrown out, the city is enacting a ban on corrugated cardboard at the landfill, beginning in January of 2018.
The cardboard ban is beyond Iowa City. It's Johnson County, Riverside, and Kelowna as well, so anyone that is being served by the Iowa City Landfill and Recycling Center.
Here's how it will be enforced.
So at the Iowa City landfill, our staff will be trained to do spot checking on site. So if there's a load that they consider contaminated, that load will be charged double the regular rate.
In order to prevent those fines, garbage carriers will not pick up a waste bin that has cardboard in it. For Iowa City curbside customers, you will get a notice of the violation. Here are the different ways you can recycle the cardboard instead. For those with curbside pickup, cut it up so that it can fit into your recycling bin.
Any cardboard that they have needs to be 2 feet by 2 feet in size or less and can go in the bin, and any excess cardboard that they have can go right under their blue 18-gallon bin.
If you live in an apartment that doesn't currently offer recycling, you can bring it to one of the city's 4 drop-off sites.
Anyone that does not currently have curbside recycling service can take cardboard to any of our drop-off recycling sites in town.
This isn't the most convenient option, but if you live in an apartment without on-site recycling, that will soon change.
With the cardboard ban going into place, this is actually really great timing because we also have a resolution in place that is requiring apartment landlords to offer recycling to their tenants.
Passed in November of 2016, the measure requires that apartments offer recycling in order to renew their rental permit, which expires every 2 years.
So by November 1st of 2018, all apartments in Iowa City should have recycling.
By keeping cardboard out of our landfill and putting it into our recycling program, we can all help make a big impact on the community.
Our hope with this cardboard ban is that we can increase the amount of cardboard being diverted into recycling programs and decrease the amount of valuable material ending up in the Iowa City landfill.
It's important to lock up your bike properly, or you can risk losing some of your equipment, the wheels, or the entire bike itself. The first step is choosing the right lock. A U-lock is the preferred lock type because it's the most secure and allows the least amount of room for a thief to use tools to break it. A strong cable is also a good alternative to a U-lock, or it can be used in combination with the U-lock. The place where you choose to lock up your bike is really important also. You want it to be well lit and visible, preferably by places where there are pedestrians. So when you find your bike rack, you're going to load it up into the rack, and you want to take your lock. Make sure you go around the wheel, around the rack, and around your frame, and lock it up. And make sure that you attach also your wheels to the lock. Put it through your wheel and into your frame, and your bike is safe and secure. If you follow these simple tips, your bike should remain secure and will be there when you return.
In this month's Know Your Neighborhood series, we're going to delve into the past of the Goosetown Neighborhood. It's a history that includes humble beginnings, an ability to organize, and a growing pride in its community.
Many people in the neighborhood owned geese, and they let the geese out every morning, and so it became known as Goosetown.
Located in northeast Iowa City, Goosetown was first inhabited in the 1850s by immigrants from what was then known as Bohemia.
I enjoy the history of the neighborhood. I've become very engaged with it.
So much that Mary Beth spent years doing research and eventually wrote a book about the Czech immigrants who created the neighborhood.
Their self-reliance, their little farms, their use of the land, all those things.
The title, Small But Ours, is a translation from a common Czech expression which reflects the modesty of the neighborhood and the people who first lived here. The history of the homes is something neighbors take great pride in.
I love that we live in a historic neighborhood with historic homes.
It was the very small town, modest circumstances of the neighborhood that appealed to me.
Mary Beth's connection to the history was taken a step further in 2008.
Isaac Augustus Weatherby came from Boston in 1854.
Also a painter, Weatherby became the first official state photographer.
He took the earliest pictures of Old Capitol and the downtown area, so he's important for that reason.
And when a developer was planning to tear down his old home, Mary Beth intervened.
I heard that the house was going to be demolished, and I panicked, and luckily it was saved, and it's been just a joy to be inside it.
She got in contact with the family, who then began donating photos, portraits, and other artifacts.
These were donated to the house by the family.
Restoring the house was another way for Mary Beth to preserve history, a priority of the neighborhood for some time.
My name is Carl Klaus, and I've lived in the Goosetown neighborhood since 1970 in this very same house.
Around the time that Carl and his wife first moved to the neighborhood, the city was considering selling some land that was then a green space. A developer hoped to construct 3 duplexes, which didn't sit well with some of the neighbors. They organized a group that went to the council.
There were probably about 100 of us, and we appealed to the council.
The council struck a deal with the group to allow the neighborhood to develop a new park, which is now known as Reno Park.
The park marks the formal organization of this neighborhood as a neighborhood association.
Flash forward to the 1990s and you'll find another example of neighborhood camaraderie. The Montessori school operated out of a historic home next to the park and wanted to build an addition onto the property,
which would have been facing over the whole length of the park.
So the group organized again, this time using a shirt to market its message.
The t-shirt was, in a way, our salvation because everyone in the neighborhood was wearing that t-shirt.
The park holds a special meaning in the neighborhood, among other amenities.
We're right next to the Black Angel in Oakland Cemetery. We're really close to Hickory Hill Park. It's got a lot of walking trails.
I like the parks like Hickory Hill and Reno, and that all the streets are lined with all these old trees, and it's just gorgeous.
Today, the neighborhood is made up of a mixture of rental and owner-occupied homes, which helps create a diverse atmosphere.
And it's a mixture of older people, younger people.
As I've aged, I've been delighted by the fact that I'm surrounded by people much younger than I am.
A big reason for that is its proximity to the university.
I like that it's very close to downtown. It's walkable to everything that you want to do.
And the friendly factor goes beyond Iowa nice.
And the neighbors really do take care of each other.
For Carl, who has spent 47 of his 85 years living in his home in Goosetown, it's more than just a neighborhood.
That is like having a connection to the womb in a way. It goes back so far in my life.
Next time on Iowa City in Focus, we'll introduce you to the newest member of the City Council, who is making international news as the first Sudanese American to hold elected office in the U.S. That's it for this month. Enjoy the new year. We'll be back in 2018 with another edition of Iowa City in Focus.